Hello everyone, how is everyone today? I hope you're all doing great, as I always say, and I just realized that rhymed. This video is about neighbors that you definitely would not want to have and one guy's experience with them. So pull up a stump and yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. So I want to share some stories about my crazy AF neighbor. I'll break it down for faster consumption, and hopefully everybody will like it better because of that. So, here we go. So I live on the 11th floor in this old-ass apartment building. It's pretty chill most of the time. You don't really hear a lot of noise from other apartments. Maybe every now and then there'll be a party or something, but due to COVID and stuff, there's been nothing for a while. So late one night, I was in my bed, comfy, and I was watching YouTube videos and just trying to doze off to snoozeville, as anyone else would do on a regular night. Then I hear this faint scream, but I think nothing of it, because, you never know what you're going to hear in an apartment building. But then I hear it a second time. I put my video on mute and I listen, and I hear it again, but now it's way louder. It sounds absolutely horrific, something I've never heard before. A loud female scream sounding like somebody is about to die at any second. I hear sounds of a struggle, someone rumbling around, breaking furniture and quickly moving from one side of the room to the other. And then, quiet. I sat there, just kinda looking at my door. It dies down a bit, and I make my way to the main doors. I open the doors of the hallway and listen, and I hear just the sound of the fluorescent lights in an empty hallway. My sensory levels are at 11. I hear it again, and I think, nope, screw this. The frequencies of the screams bounce around like a pinball all around the hallway, and I can't tell if it's coming from above or below or down the hallway. Another one comes right after, and this one is really long and drony. So I go back into my apartment, I compose myself, and I dial 911. I try to tell them that somebody is screaming in the building, and I notice how my own voice is shaking. The panic that I've been feeling is slowly setting in, but I manage to give them enough info. They say that they'll come by soon. I try to make some tea to try and calm myself down, but I'm still on high alert, listening if she'll scream again. There's a couple more times, much shorter intervals. I'm trying to figure out what's happening, and I'm trying to just make sense of it in my head. The screams are coming in irregular rhythms. Only one female scream. No sign of anyone else. No sign of any begging or threats like in a typical domestic dispute. I hear that somebody opens the water right before she starts screaming. My curiosity eventually gets the best of me, and I venture again into the hallway. I'm super spooked, slowly walking around the hallways, just waiting for her to scream again. I hear nothing. 6 policemen come. They ask me stuff about the accident. They say that somebody reported the screams as well, and I think, thank God, it's not just me imagining things or like going crazy or anything like that. I tell them everything and they say they're going to check, so I go back to my apartment, and now the screams conveniently stop. I go back to bed and I watch Bob Ross and try to fall asleep 2 hours later. So the next morning, I leave my apartment for work, and I see a group of neighbors at the bottom floor talking to each other. All of them are talking about the screams. They say that they heard a faint scream coming from a woman. A guy chips in that he went exploring to see if he could find out where it was coming from, but he couldn't find anything. I later found out that he lives under me and is the same guy that called the police. I tell him my side of the story and mention the water. One woman theorized that it's probably somebody on PCP or having a bad trip, since, like me, she didn't notice any other voices apart from her. The neighbor who lives under me says that he thought that somebody might be getting attacked since the screams were inducing this hardcore fear. I couldn't stay too much longer and continue the conversation, so I go to work and I try to forget about it. I return back and I do my usual routine of dinner, internet, and YouTube, all that stuff. But then I hear them again. This time, though, I want to try to figure out where they are coming from. But the long intervals of pause make it extremely difficult to figure out where they are coming from. I'm standing in the hallway like an idiot for 20 minutes. I hear a scream, and I don't know if it's coming from above me or below me or what's going on. I try to go up a floor and wait, and I get spooked standing in the dark and listening closely. I hear it again. I still can't figure out where they're coming from. So I get tired of waiting, and I go back to my apartment, and I'm just surfing through YouTube, and there's no more screams, and I just fall asleep. The next morning, though, I bump into the explorer neighbor that lives under me. I strike up a conversation about the screams. He says that he also heard them again and went to take a look, and even he couldn't figure out from what direction they were coming from or anything. He literally thought they were coming from an empty cabinet that somebody left in the hallway like years ago. It was, of course, empty. He also called the police. They said they will send somebody, but it's probably just somebody tripping. And now, after that night, it was pretty quiet for a few days, and I was sleeping pretty normally, and I was dreaming comfy dreams and all that good stuff when all of a sudden I hear a scream louder than ever. I wake up in this hardcore daze, and I don't know where I am, what it was, or anything like that. But then the scream gets louder, and I hear thumps, like somebody starts frantically banging on my door, and I almost shit myself shaking. I compose myself and try to make it to the door. I open the door and I hear the screaming coming from way down the hallway, echoing. Some other people come out, and everybody is tired and confused. Two of them venture out, so I go along with them. And we see that somebody has left the building as there is a slipper in the middle of the floor. Somebody calls the police and tries to explain. They come and do their usual business. Some are searching the area. So I just decide that I'm not of any use to these people, so I just go back to my apartment. But I don't really sleep a whole lot. So the next morning, I go downstairs. The ground floor is occupied by two cops. They ask me if I was in the building last night. I say yeah, with some other people because of the spooky banging and screaming. They're satisfied with their lame answers and they leave. I see the explorer neighbor again and I ask what's going on. He says that he came down around 6 a.m. just to walk his dog, and he saw some sticks and dirt scattered through the ground floor. The sticks were moved into a formation that make up a sentence. It said, "I will not break the mirror. I will not lose him." They figured it was probably the screaming lady before the police came to take the report. So I'm really disturbed by this, but I have to go to work. So I go to work and I get back and I see that somebody has left a note on the bulletin board. It said, "If you need somebody to talk to, we are here for you. Please come to apartment 47, your concerned neighbors." So I go up and I try to go to sleep. So after those few nights and that event, things kind of went quiet for about 2 weeks. My life just went back to normal. People were even starting to forget about everything that happened. It's just like a crazy dream kind of thing. So one day I come home from work and I go toward the escalators. It takes forever to come down, and somehow I decide that it would be a brilliant idea to walk up to the 11th floor. I'm listening to music on my headphones, and I walk the stairs. So as I'm walking, I all of a sudden hear, through one song ending, the screams come through my headphones. I stop for a second. I put down my headphones, and I notice that the screams are extremely loud. Soon, I hear somebody running from the bottom floor towards me with great speed. I put two and two together, and this hardcore sense of fear just washes over me. I start sprinting, trying to run like a maniac. The screams are getting louder. I'm too terrified to turn my head and take a look. I just keep trying to pick up the pace. I look down and I can see that somebody is grabbing the rail with its long fingers on its hand, and this is like double nope. So I finally make it to the 11th floor and I run like hell to my apartment. I open the door, I get in, close and lock it. I'm breathing heavily. I listen and hear how she runs past my apartment and toward the upper floors. I call the police. By now they are sick of our calls, but they still send somebody. They finally managed to locate her in the upper apartment. It was some middle-aged old lady who I assume had some mental problems. I heard somewhere that she was off of her medication for months and started having episodes. Later we found out that she was a domestic abuse victim from somebody who talked to her daughter. She was seeing her dead husband/abuser coming through the mirror at night, but didn't want to destroy it since she somehow missed him in some screwed up way. I guess that explains the sticks, I guess. Later we find out that she was moved somewhere else to be closer to family, or at least that's what we were told. After this, our lives kinda all went back to normal. It's kind of a sad story, to be honest. So while probably not supernatural, I still found that story pretty scary, and maybe you did too. But it also reminded me of when I used to live in an apartment in 2013, 2014. Now, I don't know what happened to this apartment building or what was wrong with the apartment, but there was definitely something going on there. I remember a lot of times I'd get back from my college classes and there'd be two kids who would be standing there looking like Uncanny Valley or something, and they'd look at me and say, "Did you see the man in the corner? He stares at me in my bedroom every night." And now hearing this, like 2 weeks after moving into this place, was obviously just a little screwed up. But later on, I remember hearing stories, and like I had talked to one of the neighbors about, like, I guess back then I didn't know what it was, but now I know it as an old hag spirit. And that's one of those stories that I won't get into because I don't really like talking about it, because it still kind of bothers me sometimes. But basically, one time one of my roommates had seen her in his bedroom. I had seen her in mine. And one time when this bedroom, like, we were looking for a roommate at one point, and in that bedroom, both of us were like cleaning the bathroom, and we looked in the mirror and we could see her on the ceiling of the empty room. Boo. I just got a chill just talking about that. But yeah, it was really screwed up. Maybe sometime I will, like, do the full thing of all of the events that happened to that place, but right now I don't really want to elaborate too much on it. But anyways, I hope you liked the video, or liked the story, and then liked the video as well, so, you know, get kind of both in there, I guess. Anyways, let me know what you thought of the story. If you have any suggestions for things that you would like me to talk about or like me to do a video on, then go to her. If you have any of your own stories, I'd love to hear them. I have an email in the description. You can donate to the channel if you want to. I have a PayPal and a Patreon set up. And yeah, that's about it, really. Once again, thank you for pulling up a stump, and thank you for watching the video, and thank you in advance for liking or subscribing. Or if you didn't like it, I guess, well, thank you for watching anyways. I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks.